How are you, my friends? In this video, I'm presenting additional solved questions related to factoring three terms. If you want to see the lecture, you can go to Algebra course, lecture number 11 for three terms. And you know, lecture number 10 is two terms, lecture number 12 is four or more terms. Now let's go directly here. I will present in this video almost 8 different questions. See, this is considered 2 questions, but I called it question number 1, part E, part F. So like this is one question, another different questions, so it will be altogether 8 different questions. Factor the trinomial. Trinomial means just simply 3 terms. So almost all the questions here are 3 terms. Let's see the first one. 3m cubed n plus 3m squared n squared minus 60 mn cubed. I think you remember, or you have to know easily, that to factor anything, 2 terms, 3 terms, 4 terms, 5 or 6 terms, you have to look for a common here. If there is any common, factor in all terms. That's step number 1, always. Now we can find the common, I think here, 3, 3, and 60. We go to m, we go to n. We have to check the common factor. So this one here, always look for greatest common factor. So 3 is the common here, 3, 3, and 60. So there's a 20 here. And then m cubed, m squared, and m. So there is m, and there is the smallest power. There is n power 1, n squared, n cubed. So I take also n. So 3mn. See, this is the way we write it here. 3mn. 3mn. Now, what's left? You can take this one here. You see this? Divide by 3mn. You get m squared. Or you can only compare. If you take 3mn, what will be left here? It's m squared. If you take 3mn, what's left is mn plus mn. If you take 3mn, left is 20 with the minus n squared. Or you can divide 60 mn cubed over this one, 3mn. Now it looks difficult, this one, but it's not difficult. So you can see m squared, just remember like y squared. m squared is the main variable here. So m is the y, like y, if m squared is y squared. Forget about n now, minus 20. If you factor this, that's easy factoring, y plus 5, y minus 4. Only you include the n here. See, you include the n after the y, n. So this will be 5n here. See this 5n minus 4n. And remember, we don't have y. This is to remember, simple example in the yellow color. We have m. So we write m. I'm looking here at the 5. Plus 5 minus 4. So m plus 5n, m minus 4n. If you multiply this, remember, this is part of the answer here, 3mn. So that's the whole factoring for E. Can you try number F? 3x power 7 plus 21x power 4 minus 24x. See, there is a common, I think, yes, there is a common in the numbers, there is a common in the x, and then try to see what will happen. If you are ready, we will go to the solution. Factor completely. Now, this is the question. See, the answer is so long. I will tell you why. 3x power 7, 21x power 4, 24x. This is a plus, this is a minus. Always we look for common factor. I see 3, 21, 24. So there is a 3 here. I see x power 7, x power 4, x power 1. So I take the smallest power always. So the greatest common factor is a 3x. So I put it here 3x. Now what's left inside? X power 6 plus 7x cubed minus 8. You see that? Now, how many terms here we have? 3 terms. If you want to see more details, you can go to lecture number 11 of algebra course lectures on the playlist. Now, to make this one easy to factor, I can change the variable. So you can change it for little time. See, here we have x cubed, x power 6. See this one here, you see? I can change it to m to make it only simpler. But I have to go back to x. See, I cannot leave it in m. I have to go back to x. Let me tell you the method. So I say let, or suppose, x cubed, I will make it m here. We know x power 6 is x cubed squared. So this one becomes capital M squared plus 7m minus 8. See this one here in the bracket, I think you agree with me, so easy to factor this. M plus 8, m minus 1. And leave the 3x. You see the 3x part of the answer. Now I cannot leave the answer in m. You know why? There is no m in the question. I cannot leave the m because there is no m in the question. So I have to go back and replace the m by cube, x cubed. This one here, you see x cubed plus 8, similar to this formula. I wrote the formula for you just to help you. You don't have to go and look for the formula. X cubed plus y cubed, sum of 2 cubed. This is the formula here. There is no 2, remember. X cubed minus 1, there is a formula also, difference of 2 cubes. X minus y, you know that formula. Just apply it. X here, we write 2 cubed, so x plus y, big bracket. And then x cubed minus 1 is x minus 1. See, this is x minus y, squared plus xy plus 1. That's the complete factoring of part F. Now another two nice, maybe nice. 6a squared x cubed minus 19, a squared x squared y minus 20, a squared xy squared, and this is another one, w and k. Let's see the first one. Is there a common here? You see any common in the numbers? Looks like there's no common in the numbers. A squared, there's a common. X, there's a common. There's no common in the y. Okay. Now, this is more difficult actually, but I will help you. The greatest common factor we see here, a squared. See, there is no numbers common. 6, 19, 20. Ugly numbers. Just leave it. A squared and x. So I can write it outside here. Now what's inside? 6x squared minus 19 xy minus 20y squared. See, if I have 3 terms like this, trinomial, we call this trinomial. And the leading, remember the word leading coefficient here, this number is not 1. If it is 1, it's easy. I will go back a little, please, excuse me. I will go back a little here. See here, this is a 3 terms. Remember guys, 3 terms. And here the leading is 1, so that's easy. So I go to the one here, this one, that's the sum. And this is the product minus 20, so that's easy numbers. But if number here, if this one is not 1, let's say 5 or 4 or 3 or 2 or 7, then I have to go and use a new method. We call it slide and divide method. Now, slide and divide, I take the sum is minus 19. You see this number here. And then 6 times 20 is minus 120. So I slide this. 620, I multiply. Now find 2 numbers. Their sum is this number here, minus 19. Find the product is minus 120. So you have to search for the numbers. So these numbers are 5 and minus 24. You try to add. If you add 5 and minus 24 is minus 19. When you multiply, you get minus 120. So I take these numbers and write the factoring here. X plus 5y, this is not the complete factoring, x minus 24y. See, I get these numbers from here, 5 minus 24. If you need the details for this method, please, you have to go and visit lecture number 11. You will find many examples there in details. Now we divide by 6. Why 6? Because the leading coefficient here is 6. I divide only the second term. So x plus, divide this, 5y over 6 minus 24y over 6. You simplify it now. This one we cannot simplify. 24 over 6, cancel the 6, you get 4y over 1. Then I multiply by 6 only this first factor. Here multiply by the 1 here in the denominator. So it becomes like this. You see, when you multiply by 6, the first one, 6y plus 5, 6x plus 5y, because we have an x here, and then x minus 4y. See, if you multiply now all this, you will get this answer. Maybe this method is not easy. Now another method, if you like, I just mentioned it quickly. If you have this one here, trinomial, the other method, you go directly from here to there. We call it trial and error. This is another method. You try 6x, 1x, 5y, 4y, 4y, 5y, pluses, minuses. This is a method in math. It's called trial and error. So either you try or you go by this method. There is a method number 3, more difficult and more lengthy. But this is enough. Slide and divide is one method, or you try. So that's the factor. Can you try now 24 w power 4 plus 10 w cubed k minus 4 w squared k squared? See if there is a common, and then maybe you have to slide and divide. Yes, let's see the common here. 2 is the common, 24, 10, 4, so 2. And w squared, there's no common in the k. So 2w squared, inside now, we have, if you take 2 out, that's 12, w squared plus 5. If you take w squared, so that's wk minus 2k squared. It looks like inside here, we have to go slide and divide. Because this one is the leading coefficient. Remember, the leading coefficient is not 1, it is 12. Only if it is 1, it's easy to factor. So let's leave the 5 here as the sum. You see the 5 here is the sum. The middle one is the sum. The product, you slide here, you multiply. 12 minus 2, you multiply. So that's minus 24. Now find two numbers. Their sum is 5. Their product is minus 24. Now you have to think. It's not that easy, but this is the question. Let's find the two numbers, their sum. Remember, sum will be 5. So it's 8 minus 3. It's only one answer there. 8 minus 3. If you add them, so you try to add 8 minus 3. That's 5. Try to multiply. That's minus 24. So I take these two numbers and make the brackets here. W, you see W, plus 8k minus 3k. Then I divide by the leading coefficient, the 12. 8k divide by 12, 3k divide by 12. Simplify now, one more step. Here you can cancel by 4, cancel by 4. Here you cancel by 3, cancel by 3, you see? Now, the first factor here, I multiply by 3 to remove the fraction here. Here multiply by 4. So what do I get? 3w plus 2k, 4w minus k. And don't forget the common factor here, 2w squared. That's part of the answer. Sorry for this slide and divide, but this is the method here. Now, very important and tricky question, one part only, and it has many ideas here. Factor the expression completely. 10, 3t minus 1 squared, leave it now, do not expand, plus 11, 1 minus 3t minus 6. We need to factor this expression completely. Now, where do we start? Just by looking here, 3t minus 1, 1 minus 3t. You can feel these are not the same, so we have to do something. There are more than one trick actually in this question. So we have to do something. You want to pause the video, please, if you like to try to factor, or directly you can go to solution. It's up to you. Now, I have to make here something. See, I need to make, let me tell you the first trick only. 1 minus 3t, I would like to make it like this, 3t minus 1. So I can take minus out, you see? Minus out. So it will be 3t minus 1. I know in math, in algebra here, 1 minus 3t, you see this one? 1 minus 3t, I know this one is the same as minus, in the bracket, 3t minus 1. Because if you multiply with minus here, that's minus 3t. Minus 1 is plus 1. So this one, same as this. So I can remove this and write that one, but I leave the minus with the 11 here. You see the idea? This is the same part, first term. Last term, minus 6, same. I just played with the number here, with the minus. I used something in algebra to play with the brackets and negative. Now this is the same, 3t minus 1. To make it easy, I will say let n. Or you can say m, let m, or let y. See, I changed the variable for a minute because I need to make the question simple. So I leave 10 n squared here minus 11n minus 6. See, only I take 3t minus 1, all of it as n. This is easier now, you see? Now we have to use slide and divide. You can see the video on slide and divide, factoring 3 terms. Okay, this is in lecture number 11, algebra course. Slide and divide, I take the sum here in the middle, minus 11, and then I slide here the number 10, and minus 6 is minus 60. What are the two numbers? Only two numbers. Their sum is minus 11, and their product is minus 60. Well, you have to play with the numbers, use pen and paper, and then find the two numbers. There are minus 15 and 4. See, try to add here. Minus 15 and 4 is minus 11. Multiply 1 minus 1 plus becomes minus 60. Now I go for the n, remember. But I need the final answer in t. Look at the question. The question has t. So I cannot leave the answer in n. Okay, now, n minus 15, see the factoring here, n plus 4. So from the last slide, we can see that n minus 15, n plus 4, we take the leading coefficient here is 10, and we divide the numbers by 10, 15 by 10, 4 by 10. Then we simplify, divide here by 5, divide by 5, we get n minus 3 over 2, divide by 2, n plus 2 over 5. Now the final step, we multiply by 2, the first factor here, multiply by 2, we get 2n minus 3. Here multiply by 5 to remove the fraction, so 5n plus 2. Now remember, this is the factoring in n. We cannot stop here. Why? If you look at the question, this is the question. There is no n in the question, it's only t. So we have to remember n equals 3t minus 1. So I replace each n here by 3t minus 1. So I put in the bracket here 3t minus 1, 3t minus 1. Remember, to multiply by 2, I distribute 60 minus 2, and there is a minus 3. Now, in the second here, 5 times 3t, 15t minus 5 plus 2. Simplify now, 6t minus 5, right? 15t minus 3. Now, I cannot stop here for one reason, because there is a common factor here in this 15t minus 3. There is a 3 here out. So I have to take it out, and then 6t minus 5 is the same. If you take 3 out, then this becomes 5t minus 1. That's the final factoring for the question. Now let's see question number 4. We have also two parts here, A and B. Now, easily by looking at part A in question 4, you see here 2m minus 1 squared, and here we have 2m minus 1. So easily you can think of changing the variable. Changing the variable means use the idea of let, change the variable, make the question simple and easy. This is the only reason we use let. Also here you can use let, even if this is simple. I will show you now after a few minutes. So this one you can pause the video if you like and try. Put here anything for 2m minus 1. Put something. You can put x, you can put y, you can put k, you can put g, you can put d. It's up to you. So in my case here, I took let y is equal to m minus 1 here. So that's y. Now we have 2y squared plus 9y minus 35. There is no common here. See, if we have a common, take it out. There is no common. And now the leading coefficient here, this is the leading coefficient 2. It is not 1. Since this is 2, nice method is slide and divide method. Slide and divide, I slide the first number and the last number. You multiply. 2 and minus 35 is minus 70. We call this the product. 9 here we call it the sum. As I mentioned before, there is a video, lecture 11 on algebra course about slide and divide and 3 terms. You can check there. Now let's find two numbers. You have to search in your mind. Two numbers, their sum is 9 and their product is minus 70. Well, these numbers are 14 and minus 5, because when you add, just try to add 14 minus 5, the answer is 9. If you multiply 14 and minus positive and negative, it will be minus 70. So y, this is the y here, y plus 14 times y minus 5. Now we will continue on the next slide, and we have to take the leading, you see the leading coefficient here, 2, and we divide 14 by 2, 5 by 2. Let's continue. So this is from the last slide here, y plus 14, y minus 5. Let's divide now. 14 divided by 2, 5 divided by 2. Same signs, we keep it. Now let's simplify one more step. Divide by 2 here, 7 over 1. Here nothing to divide, nothing to simplify, just leave it. Now look at the denominator is 1, so we multiply by 1, so it becomes y plus 7. The second one, there is a fraction here 2, multiply by 2, so we get 2y minus 5. Now we cannot stop here because the question contains m. You see the question, I will show you the question here. See, the question contains m, there is no y, there is nothing. So we have to go back. Each y, see this is y and 2y there. Each y, I will replace it with 2m minus 1 and here 2m minus 1. Here plus 7 and here minus 5. Now, this one I can simplify now because nothing to multiply. 2m minus 1 plus 7 here. So it is 2m plus 6 now. Here I have to multiply first. 2 times 2m is 4m minus 2, and there is minus 5. So it becomes 4m minus 7. Now check each one if there is a common. Here there is no common. Here there is a 2. So I take 2 out, and then what's left inside? M plus 3 multiplied by 4m minus 7. That is the final complete factoring. Or you can say factorization if you like. Now, let's see. You want to try? Nice question here. 4x to the power 5 plus 15x cubed minus 4x. If you want to try this, see, I can help you here. Maybe there is no common in the numbers. 4, 15, and 4. There is no common. X power 5, x power 3x. There is a power 1 here common. So you can take common factor x power 1. And then you can proceed. Okay, now here, I think we have to use also in B part, slide and divide. Now there is a common here, x. I think you tried that. Inside the bracket, we have 4x to the 4 plus 15x squared minus 4. To make it also simple, let this x squared here is capital D, and this one will be d squared. So now we have a trinomial, easy now to use slide and divide. 4d squared plus 15d minus 4. You can use slide and divide, you factor it, and then at the end, you have to, every d, you put x squared. Okay, now 15 is the sum in the middle, slide the number 4 and minus 4 becomes minus 16. So the product is minus 16. Let's find two numbers, their sum. If you add them, you get 15. If you multiply them, you get minus 16. Only two numbers you can find. Both positive, both negative, one positive, one negative, doesn't matter. So that's minus 1 and 16. Try to check here, please. If you take minus 1 and 15, you add them. Minus 1 and 16, you get 15 here. If you multiply the numbers, you get minus 16. So now you put d minus 1, d plus 16. Now what do? We go back to the leading coefficient here. See, this is the leading coefficient 4. The leading coefficient. Now we divide d minus 1, d plus 16. We divide the numbers here by 4, by the leading coefficient. 1 over 4, 16 over 4. Now I simplify if I can. 1 over 4 cannot be simplified, I leave it. 16 over 4 divided by 4, I get 4 over 1. So now I look at the denominator. The first factor here, I should multiply by 4. The second one, I multiply by 1, which is nothing. Multiply by 1 is the same. So this is d plus 4, this is 4d minus 1. Be careful. If you multiply this by 4, 4d minus 1. If you multiply this by 1, you get d plus 4. Now remember, d is x squared, because back to x. So you put here, see we have x common factor, outside we leave it, 4x squared minus 1, and then x squared plus 4. Unfortunately, this one, x squared plus 4, we cannot factor in real numbers, so we leave it. But remember, this is difference between two squares. We have seen similar questions. 2x all squared. You remember, this is 2x all squared minus 1 squared. So it becomes 2x plus 1, 2x minus 1. So the final answer is the x, 2x plus 1, 2x minus 1, x squared plus 4. That's the final answer of this factoring. Now, if you multiply all this, if you have time, you want to check, if no need, multiply all this, you will get this answer here. Now, question number 5. Find the product of all values of the k that make the trinomial, this is a trinomial here, 9x squared plus kx plus 25. Make it perfect squared. See, this is a multiple choice, A, B, C, D, E. These numbers, 30 minus 30 minus 900, 960, these are the product of all values of k. So first, we have to find the value or values of the k. Then after that, we multiply the k's. Now, how can we make this one perfect? The perfect, if you remember, it's something a plus b all squared. See this one here, 9x squared, I can make it 3x all squared, I can change it. 25, I can make it 5 squared. So what do you think this number here in the middle? This is k. Do you remember? In the formula, we have a plus b squared. In the formula here, we have 2ab. Try to figure out, first you need the values of the k. After you find them, you multiply them. Find the product means multiply all values of k. Now let's see. This is perfect squared. I wrote here the formula for you. X squared plus 2xy plus y squared. Also, this is perfect. X squared minus 2xy plus y squared. That's x plus y all squared, x minus y all squared. Now, we will use both formulas because k in the middle here, we did not say k positive or negative. So let's find the middle term. See the middle term here, 2xy, 2xy. 2 and x in the middle will be 3x. From where we get 3x? From this one. 3x all squared. 5, you get from this 5 squared. You see? 5 squared here. So 2 times 3x times 5. Remember, this is 2xy from the formula. We call this middle term. So 2 times 3, 6 times 5, 30x. See, 30x. But this one, k, can be 30 and can be minus 30 also because we have another formula, perfect squared. Remember, this is always plus y squared, but this can be plus, can be minus. So we have two values for the k. One is plus 30 and the other is minus 30. So when you multiply, you get minus 900. If you go back to you cannot take 30, you cannot take minus 30 because we had the product of all values of k. So it's the answer here is C minus 900. Nice question, actually. Now, thank you for watching. I hope I can see you in another video with another topic. Thank you very much.